an unremembered love story, true in every aspect, preserved behind the heavy door that was closed against the sadness of its end. This is a story about a woman who was lost to the world for a long time. Growing up, I had heard that my mother died, but no one ever told me the circumstances or what caused her death. And I never talked with my dad about it because it was sort of understood that it had been such a terrible loss to him that he could never really face it again. So I never questioned him. And then 47 years later, he got sick with a brain tumor. And when I went to see him, and I asked him this one question about my mother, he couldn't remember anything. He couldn't remember, when they got married or where they went on their honeymoon. And I began to think that their love story would be lost to the world, and that maybe I could rescue it somehow.
Soon it will be over. I laughed under my breath over your shoulder. There's a message out tonight. Nobody's looking at the sky. Soon it will be over. I laughed under my breath over your shoulder. You think that I don't know your name. And now your face is all in flames.
Someday, if we live long enough, we'll tell our love stories to a stranger from down the hall, inventing what we must to explain the rush of time and the uncertainty of our place in this world.
I needed to find my mother. I needed to say goodbye to her and say hello to her at the same time. I had to travel to Pennsylvania. I needed the kind of understanding that comes when you have the chance finally to say goodbye to someone you love. I needed to tell her that I was afraid, that I would never measure up to whatever she must have returning to the place. Whatever she must have returning to a place I'd never been to. She gave up her life. A place that I'd never left. As if a part of me, maybe the best part of me, had always resided there.
You think that I don't know your name.
I am telling her story now for my father, an old man who was the boy who loved her, and for her, the girl who was my mother, and for you if you are in love or out of it, or trying to stay in love with the person you have pledged yourself to. Let us hope that we are all preceded in this world by a love story that lies behind us like a shadow, waiting only for us to turn and face it, and in facing it, We face ourselves, perhaps. It's like being in a dream. And I've been dreaming my mother back this way, going all the way back across the years that lay between us. And you try to run your hands over her love story. And I can see that it's a love story that was buried with her, in the August heat of Pennsylvania in 1950, 16 days after she gave birth to me and my twin brother. She was 19 years old. And until last year, I never knew anything about her. Where she was buried, who her friends were, how she had died, what it was she stood for. Peggy can hear Dick's laughter, and she's trying to follow the sound of it back to where she is standing by his side. She is looking into his eyes when he tells her that this is why he survived. This is the reason, to be here with her. She can tell that he is never going to judge her harshly. He will never try to make her become something that she doesn't want to be. And when he takes her hand, she is aware of her body moving, not spinning or dizzy with anticipation, just moving calmly and thoughtfully. And somebody walks through the past and tries to figure out who we are, who we were when we were here, the events of our life will tell them something. That's a place to begin. And for me, I laid down all the events of my mother's life along a timeline, everything that I knew that had happened to her. And then I realized that the events of our lives don't necessarily convey who we are in this world. And in order for me to connect these events so that they revealed the motives that inspired them, I had to know all the emotions beneath them. And I'm talking about the only way on earth that anyone can ever really come to truly know us, by knowing our fears and our desires, the things that are deep and individual in each of us, and the things we try hardest to conceal.